Hello friends, it's once again time for the Mail Club Corner. Every month I draw 2 stickers and a print for my webcomics monthly mail club, and this month's theme is very near and dear to my heart. I've made no secret of the fact that Witch Hat Atelier is one of my favorite series from the last few years, and this month my patrons voted to put Cast-Off's characters into the Witch Hat world, which means that my propaganda is working! So here's the thing. I'm going to be talking a lot about Witch Hat Atelier in this video, but if you're not familiar with the series, don't worry. I'll be giving you all the info you need to enjoy while doing my best to sidestep any big spoilers or plot twists. But I am sternly of the opinion that if you have any interest in fantasy, interesting magic systems and the consequences therein, or if you just enjoy art at all, this series needs to be on your radar. We'll get to the time lapses in a second, but before we do, I think it'd be good to understand a bit about the series we're replicating first, so let's do a brief summary here at the front. Witch Hat Atelier takes place in a fantasy world filled with magic, and witches who use their magic spells to make the world a better place. Our main character, Coco, loves magic and has always wanted to be a witch, but in this world, magic is something you have to be born with. And not having been born with magic, Coco's dreams of being a witch are shattered before they even have a chance to sprout. However, after an encounter with the witch Kefri, she learns a secret. Magic actually isn't something innate. It's something anyone can do by drawing spell circles with a special type of ink. Eager to try and make her own magic, Coco tries copying some spell circles out of a book she's had since childhood, but her attempts end in disaster when she accidentally turns her home and her mother to stone. Desperately wanting to reverse the spell she cast, Coco is taken in by Kefri as his student and has to learn how to use her own magic in order to make things right. Witch Hat is a fascinating story that has a lot of interesting things to say about art. It's not even a little bit of a stretch to say that magic in the series is an allegory for art and making things. Magic is cast by drawing, and you improve at magic by improving your technical drawing abilities. Neater drawings cast more orderly spells, while messier ones may not have the desired effect. Additionally, as an artist, I've heard countless people in my life say things like, "You're so lucky you were born with artistic talent. I could never be an artist because I'm not talented." Just like how Coco was told she has to be born a witch to use magic. But the series takes that idea and says, no, this is something anyone can do, you just have to apply yourself. You have to get used to it. If you practice and work and get better, you too can have magic. The important thing isn't talent, it's determination. It's wanting something so bad you're willing to chase it, willing to struggle and push through the struggle in order to get the results you want. And if you stick up your nose at that idea and say, "Oh, well, that's easy for you to say, you're already an artist, you're talented," then let me double down and say, no, I am living proof of the fact that talent doesn't mean anything. I was friends with several artists growing up, and of all of them, I was by far the worst. I'm not saying this to fish for compliments, I'm genuinely saying that on a technical level, I had the worst grasp of anatomy, the stiffest poses, and the least command over the tools I was using, both traditional and digitally. I was a slow learner back then, and honestly, I still am today. I tend to need a lot more repetition to master something compared to my peers, and it's hindered my artistic progress significantly. And I could have let that swallow me. I could have said, my friends are better than me, I'll never catch up to them, so why even try? I didn't have talent. But you know what I had? Tenacity, stubbornness, and a brain full of ideas that really wanted to be put on paper. So that's what I did. I drew so I could get my ideas on paper. I drew so I could show those ideas to my friends. I drew to make people laugh. I drew to express myself. I drew to tell a story. And I did that over and over and over for decades just to get to where I am now. And I'm still not where I want to be. There's still so much I want to improve on. I want to get better at posing and expressions. I still struggle a lot with anatomy and tend to get locked into flawed ways of doing things. I've gotten better at backgrounds over the years, but I still find them challenging and want to get better at drawing them. And I have an extremely hard time with colors more than anything else because I can't imagine them in my head. You know that frickin' aphantasia apple chart? I can imagine the general shape of something, which is really useful for, say, visualizing what a comic page layout would look like and what screen directions to use. But I have to hash out colors as I'm drawing, and it takes a lot of trial and error. I still don't think I'm that great at colors, honestly. I still have a lot to learn, and I recognize that. The point is that nobody is born with talent, and talent isn't this innate special thing that says some people can do something while others can't. Being an artist is a skill that's nurtured with practice and discipline. There's no fast track to learning. You have to pick up the pen and draw. That's something you'll hear from me, and it's something Witch Hat Atelier really drills into you. Mastery is achieved by doing. Before we continue talking about the series, though, let's talk about this print a little. There's a recurring theme of picture frames in both the manga illustrations and the anime opening, so I knew I wanted to do something with that. The swirly scrolls and ribbons are another frequent visual motif. I'm not quite sure if I nailed the look, but I did my best. So many people on my Discord were trying to decipher what the scroll says, and I hate to crush y'all's dreams, but it's literally just random scribbles mixed in with whatever silliness came into my brain, written in the worst version of my handwriting I could muster. You will find no spoilers here, friends, just the hurried scribblings of an artist on a deadline. I drew this entire picture in under a day. Within the canon of Witch Hat's universe, I think that Vector and Rory would be students, while Frankie is their teacher. But he's probably a newer teacher who's still learning how to teach himself, and they don't have the matching outfits of a master and student, though, so maybe Frankie's not their actual teacher. He's just a friend who mentors them a little. I don't know, I wanted the characters to still have their signature colors rather than giving them all the same look. If it goes against canon, then I will make up an excuse for it. They're buddies, and they're doing magic together. It's fine, it's chill, don't worry about it. Additionally, I thought that adding both Zara as a member of the Knights Morales and Ariana as a brimmed cap worked really well to add some pizzazz. The Knights Morales are basically witch cops, which runs pretty close to the Royal Guard and cast-off. It meant putting Zara in red, which felt like sacrilege, but he can deal with it, he'll live. Meanwhile, the brimmed caps in Witch Hat are basically witches who go against the magic laws. Put a pin in that, we'll come back to it later. I'm not sure exactly what Ariana's role in this hypothetical AU story would be, but I think she just wants to use magic to kill people. Specific people. If you read Cast Off, you might have an idea. And that doesn't exactly run together nicely with the goody two-shoes vibes of the pointed cap witches. A few people have asked where Marina is in this print, and there's two ways I could answer that question. The practical response is that I just didn't know where to put her in the composition, but the in-canon response is that I don't think Marina would be a witch in this universe. Some who know the story might be able to guess why, but we'll circle back to that in a minute. Anyway, here's the final print. How'd I do? Are we digging the vibes? Now then, let's get on to the stickers. So one thing I want to say is that for all these pieces, I was trying to replicate the art style of the manga, but more so the rendering style rather than the specific ways the characters are drawn, if that makes sense. I still wanted it to be my own art style, just with some flair pointing towards the way the manga illustrations are done. Shirahama Sensei's work has these beautiful hatching details to show form and add depth to the line work, and while it's pretty tricky as someone who generally prefers cleaner lines, it was still really interesting to explore. I also wanted to design outfits for the characters that would fit into the universe. Witch Hat has a very consistent way the clothes are designed, with lots of flowing robes and dangling ribbons and doodads that add a lot of flow and movement to drawings of them. I looked at a lot of character references for the series and analyzed their clothing and how they work, and while I'm not sure I 100% nailed it, I think the vibes are definitely in the right place. With that out of the way, I want to talk about Witch Hat more. I'm getting back on my little podium now. The series as a whole has a ton to say about the art and the craft of it, but it also has a lot to say about the world in general. As our main character quickly discovers, magic has a lot of rules, and breaking those rules comes with the punishment of having your memories erased. These rules were designed to keep the natural order of things in alignment and stop witches from going mad with power, and there is logic to the rules, but some are harder to swallow than others. The biggest being that magic cannot be cast on the human body, even for healing purposes. Healing magic is possible, as pretty much anything can be done with the right spell circle, but doing so is considered forbidden magic, and performing it will get your memories erased and have you cast out of magic society. In fact, this rule is so intense that witches are forbidden from learning anything about medicine apart from basic first aid. A curiosity for medicine could lead to someone experimenting with using magic for healing purposes, something that goes expressly against the rules of magic society. But this causes friction when there's things like injuries or sickness in the series that magic could fix, and those with magic have to lie and say, no, we can't fix this, when they know full well that they absolutely could heal someone if they tried. But they can't because they're bound by the rules of their society that forbid it. The series bumps up against this sort of thing all the time. How do you work within the rules while still doing as much good as you possibly can? And if there are rules in place that stop you from being able to make things the best they possibly could be, are those rules worth following? This is a constant conflict in the series, and one that I think is fascinating to dig into. Because the allure of breaking out of society's rules and joining with the Brimmed Caps is a very real possibility for the characters. I won't spoil anything, but it does get touched on. Some of you may already see where I'm going with this, but I think that if Castoff's characters were picked up and dropped into the Witch Hat universe, I believe Marina either wouldn't be a witch, or she'd at least be flirting with the idea of using forbidden magic for healing purposes. If she hasn't already turned, I think she lays in bed awake at night thinking about it all the time. All I'm saying is, if I had time to write fanfiction of my own comic, this would be what I'd write. Marina having ethical dilemmas about the nature of healing in this universe. The rest of the characters are fun to think about, too. It strikes me that Vector could have a similar storyline to Coco's, an outsider who wasn't raised with magic but is suddenly thrust into it due to some bizarre circumstances. That's not too far off from the inciting incident of Castoff. Frankie, I think, would just love magic so much he travels around exploring and helping people with things and having a grand old time, but I think maybe he's not the best at coming up with new spells on his own. He's less creative in that respect. Meanwhile, Rory's out here making the wildest contraptions for anything and everything she can think of, just to see if she can. I imagine the Knights Morales have to keep an eye on her, because she hasn't done anything that's technically forbidden magic yet, but she is a notorious shit stirrer. And Ariana, like I said before, wants to do violence. I think the crossover has a lot of fun potential, and I had a lot of fun realizing it for this month's goodies. All that said, here's the finished stickers. Look at my boys. And that'll be it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed my rambles as well as the new art for this month. If you'd like to grab this month's goodies, be sure to join my Patreon before June is over. Your patronage also gets you cool bonuses like early videos and comic pages, access to patron-only chat rooms in my Discord, your name in my video credits, and special shoutouts like these. Thank you so much to Holly, Mr. Don Matsu, Alyssa Herzog, Neon Valkyrie, Sammy Katz, and Myth Nerd for supporting my work and helping me spread my witch hat propaganda. Anyway, that'll be it from me. Fare thee well, friends, and I will see y'all next time. Bye! But seriously, go read Witch Hat Atelier. It's so good, and the first season of the anime is going to be wrapping up not long after this video goes up. Go watch it, please! It's so good, please! I beg you!